Too sweet.
Hi, I'm Jarrett Hood. That's Dwight Garfield. This is JD Sports. You can find our Twitter at _JD Sports. Everything else is in the YouTube page. Dwight.
What's up?
Big conference championship weekend behind us.
Oh, yeah.
The better of two games happened first. It was the 17th matchup. We talked a little bit about it. Actually, we talked a lot about it. Peyton versus Brady. It was Brady versus Peyton. The road team has never won. It stays that way.
Yeah, I call it.
You called it.
I did call it. Reluctantly, I called it.
We flopped this week. We flip-flopped. I won one, you won one. We were the opposite. We went against each other in both games.
Right. You still got one ahead of me because I got that one wrong.
Yeah, I am. Overall I'm 9-1 in the 10 games. What are you? 8-2.
Yeah, I guess it would be. Yeah,
okay.
I didn't think about it. Yeah, so, I am 8-2. Yeah.
So, and we'll get into the second game in a minute. But Denver. The difference in this game, and you said it was the defense. The defensive line versus the offensive line. Brady he gets the ball out quicker than everybody else, but it wasn't.
He had to.
Yeah, but it wasn't. It wasn't even fast enough in this game. Their defensive line is incredible. It was what was the difference. Reason they have home field advantage.
Von Miller. Mm-hmm. DeMarcus Ware.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out DeMarcus Ware. I'm so happy for him. Former Cowboy.
Yeah, even the inside the two inside defensive linemen for the Broncos, but their whole entire because they had they played they matched up well. You know what I mean? They pushed Gronk off the line, they pushed Edelman off the line. They had a good scheme, they had a good system. They had good coverage throughout the game.
Right.
And they got to Brady quick enough before those guys could get open. Turns out to be the difference in the game. The real difference in the game is just a missed extra point, and then they couldn't get the 2-point conversion. People are acting like this. People are acting like this game was so far apart. It was a 2-point game.
Right. I don't like.
And if he makes the extra point, then he has an opportunity to make the second extra point. I'm not saying he does.
And if Belichick would have went for the field goal instead of going for it, then it would have been a completely different story.
Everybody talked about the NFL moving the extra point rule and how it was this and how it was that. Ends up being a critical point of a really critical game.
Right.
I think that's pretty cool. I like that there's a new element to that.
It mixes up a bit.
It makes a factor of it. We weren't going to overtime, which it would have been cool to see overtime. But, Belichick receiving the ball in the first half and then it was questionable they're going down the stretch going towards the end of the first half because you were going to give Peyton the ball back in the second half. I didn't understand that. I didn't. No. But he still had a chance there at the end, moving the whole way downfield. They still, They still almost won the game.
But Denver's defense is what happened.
But how do you think assessing Peyton's game in this? How do you feel about how he played? Do you think his performance was crucial? Made a difference?
No,
do you think Osweiler could have came in there and did anything different?
I don't know. He might have
better, worse.
I don't think he could have done any better per se. That's kind of hypothetical, really. I can't say yes or no, but I will say I would stick to what has worked and what I said weeks ago is that you stick with the experience, and that's what Peyton gave you. He did play lights out, but he had he had actually a lot of overthrown passes. Some of them
he seemed amped up.
Right. Some of them were his fault. I also saw a couple times where Demarius was he was a step or two shorter, and it was like he kind of stuttered a bit, and it was just like that was all you. It wasn't Peyton. Peyton was putting it where he expected you to be, and you just weren't there.
Yeah.
So could Brock have done better? I don't know, but in the situation, I think it's more so what their defense did. Their defense is what controlled the entire tempo of the game.
I agree with that.
The defense gets a lot of credit this week.
Because the Patriots defense settled into a groove at some point and really didn't let the Broncos do too much after a certain while. Then
they got decent.
It just came down to the point if the Patriots can move the ball or not. The Patriots seemed like they were chipping away, like the Patriots usually do. Got really close, didn't convert on the fourth down. Chipping away, got the touchdown, didn't get the 2-point conversion. The Broncos made enough plays to win that game against Tom Brady, and we talked about it. We just you said it perfectly about how Manning played. Their run game wasn't effective, but it broke off big runs at the big times, and it's done that through 2 playoff games now. They have to do that in the Super Bowl to have a chance. We'll get into that.
Yeah, absolutely.
In a little bit.
Another aspect that we have to touch base on was Carolina special teams. I don't even like talking a lot about special teams, but can we just talk? I don't know his name, but the punter. How many times did he pinned them down at the 5-yard line?
Yeah, you're
that happened 3 or 4 times. It's very impressive. That's how you win football games. You pin them down. You make them go third and long in their own end zone.
Mm-hmm.
Chances are you're going to win the game if you can continue to do that. And that's exactly what Denver did. On top of their defense playing as well as they did.
Yeah.
It was just a perfect formula. There was a couple times where Denver ended up being at like the 50-yard line or even in Patriots territory, and they walked away with no points. And that was kind of alarming. Is that a testament to the way Payne was playing? Perhaps. I can agree with that. At one point where there was a turnover, and I tweeted on our JD Sports Twitter account, you can't walk away with a Brady turnover without any points. And that happened once or twice that happened.
Yeah.
So,
but that was Belichick. As I said, they got into that groove there late towards the end of the... Not even late. They got in the groove there.
Defensively.
You tweeted it. It was right before half. They had a turnover that they didn't get any points from. And defensively, since that moment, they didn't really give up too many points. I think they only gave up 6 points or maybe
something
9
like
points.
It wasn't much. They got better as the game went on, absolutely.
Yeah. And then, you look at, as we said, the Patriots were chipping away. It was a battle of field position. They never could switch the field position until late. They had to just drive down the field on that, it was like 4th and almost 20 at one point.
Yeah.
It was incredible. Quickly, before we get to the next game, Brady in the future. I mean, people acted like this was such a big deal. It was a big loss, this, that, and the next thing.
That's because people hate him.
As I said, realistically, it was 2-point game. He played really well, especially how bad that offensive line played. To think they were only within 2 points of winning that game and going to the second straight Super Bowl. Will he be back next year?
As far as on the team or in the Super Bowl hunt?
In the AFC Championship.
Yeah, absolutely.
He gets back this far?
He'll be in that mix. If he doesn't get to the game, he'll be
in the divisional round.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Because it's Tom Brady. I think they will get to a situation where they will rebuild that team and get it's Tom Brady.
Yeah.
The reason why people are reacting this way is because they hate Tom Brady. They hate and they feel like this is revenge because they're cheaters. Particularly because, as we said, especially in the early part of the season and early broadcast of the show, we were saying they were on that high momentum because of Deflategate. And it got them that far, but unfortunately because of injuries, the offensive line.
I see a lot of joking memes about Deflategate, about Tom saying, you didn't deflate the balls enough, or the balls were too inflated, this and the next thing.
That was funny 6 months ago.
Nobody's making any PED jokes though. Nobody's talking about Peyton, which was just a month ago. Speaking of, the NFL said they're going to investigate this. It probably won't get it done before the end of the Super Bowl, before.
So they didn't learn from New England.
Yeah,
they didn't learn from that
same thing as last year. But they'll talk about what happened. It's going to be an interesting scandal if it comes out, or if they, prove that he did. I mean, that's something we'll get into if it happens.
They're going to take the ring away from him if he gets it? No, they won't.
You came in here talking about the offensive line coach for the Patriots getting fired.
Yeah.
Your feelings?
It was cop-out.
Yeah.
Absolute cop-out. Because obviously you're not getting rid of Belichick. I mean, so who do you turn to? But why I think it's a cop-out, and I was listening
You just need to get better talent.
Exactly. It doesn't help. I was listening, like I was saying, to, I know you don't like him, but I was listening to Skip Bayless, and when he was talking about it, it really made me think, and I was like, yeah, he's absolutely right. It's a cop-out to the point where, why are we ignoring the fact that the offensive line was injured most of the year, and he had, I think it was like 30 or some different rotations they had on that offensive line. Yes. Is that his fault? No, it's because that their offensive line is that depleted and hurt. One of their best offensive linemen was a rookie, and he got hurt early on. Why is he getting fired? I feel like it's an overreaction. They faced the Broncos' defensive line, which is Von Miller, DeMarcus Ware,
and best maybe ever.
It's fantastic.
As a group, it's up there with some of the best evers at least.
It's fantastic. So why are you firing him like a day or two after this game? To me, it's a cop-out. I don't understand it.
I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying.
But
moving on.
I thought you had a butt in there.
No.
All right, fair enough.
You covered it all. Just like Manning, you covered every point that I would have needed to make in that situation.
Fair enough.
Arizona, Carolina. Do you want to... Okay.
Where do you even begin with this?
Let's start because we're going to go from Arizona into something else. So let's start with Carolina. All right. The winners, just like we started with the winners for Denver.
Okay.
The dominance. Now, you have a choice here. Do you want to start off with the offensive or the defensive side of the ball with Carolina? There's a lot to talk about.
God. Well, in this situation, I'd go offensive.
Okay, well, offensive. Now, no weapons.
I'd still say that.
Something we'll talk about next week. Greg Olsen was probably their best weapon all season long.
Right.
Cam, though, he's an unstoppable force. It seems like teams just haven't figured it out. They can't figure it out. They seem to get better and better and better on offense and putting up more points and more points and more points against better teams.
At will.
Against better teams, against better defenses. Seahawks, not a bad defense at all.
No. Arizona.
Not a bad defense at all.
Hey, I've been saying all year, they're the most complete team in the league.
People were saying that they were beating average teams or whatever throughout the year. They didn't have the tough schedule.
I said that, yeah. And then they beat Seattle, and then they beat Arizona.
Better than they had looked all season was now. They look healthy.
Right,
They have a really big offensive line. They are they're probably the best team in the league. We're gonna preview the Super Bowl. It's hard as it is not to just dig into it right now.
We got a whole week.
Way too much time.
Next week we will be doing
but Cam was finding guys open against Patrick Peterson. I mean, guys like Corey Brown, guys like
some of the best corners in the league.
Ted Ginn Jr. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's his best receiver. I'm sorry, with all due respect, really. You gotta give them credit offensively. They I hate to use this.
Running the ball.
Well, yeah.
Their offensive line pushing. Cam running the ball well. Cam passing the ball accurately, finding the open guys, reading the defense as well.
I hate to use this term, but they have, and I haven't seen it, especially in the NFL, in a while. They have such a swagger about them, and I hate that term, but what else do you call it? They are so confident. And it is arrogant to a degree, but it's so confident, and then they go out and they show you why they are in this position and why they are this good, and they show that they do belong by just going out and smacking you in the mouth.
I'm too far on the front of this train to understand what's going on behind this. Why is he becoming the most popular player in the league? Why is
Cam?
Yeah.
I thought you was going to say the opposite.
But no, because I agree with you that the media does not like him.
Right.
But the masses, I mean, he's standing there. He has his arms out. He's doing tabs. He has everybody.
It's general.
People who don't even like.
There's a couple aspects. Is race to a degree is generation.
You know I'm not against that. I'm very open to that with him.
We're going to call it like it is. It's race to a degree. It's generational to a degree. Because he's flamboyant. Well, I say flamboyant. Like, he's showy. He shows off a little bit. But
people think it's about him.
A lot of
he's been thinking about team now.
Right, yeah. He's been doing that. And it's all about him, but he's been giving kids footballs all year. Get out of here with that. It's kind of generational. That he's not that traditional quarterback. Not just race or because he's showy, because he's more like that Russell, where he's running around, and a lot of traditionalists, a lot of older people that love the NFL don't like that. They like that pocket passer.
But he's doing it by himself. Like Russell, you could say, look at what Marshawn Lynch was doing. These insane numbers. You can look at some better receivers. Line. He had some good. He had great offensive line, which Cam has a good offensive line. And that defense is historically good. As good as the Panthers' defense is, it's not historically good like that Seahawks defense.
No, it's not the original Legion of
that Seahawks defense is probably the number 3 defense of all time. You can make an argument behind the '85 Bears.
01 Ravens?
Yeah. And
is it the 01?
Yeah, 2000 or 01, one of those two.
Right.
But it doesn't.
It's in that conversation.
And they're
but Carolina might be in that next conversation if they can keep it going.
I don't know if Carolina's in that conversation. That's my point. So you have Cam doing it with
seemingly
much less.
Yeah. It's seemingly by himself.
Why is the media against him, and then why is it? And am I wrong? Am I wrong? Because I feel like the bandwagon is starting to get really full on Cam. I think people are starting to really get behind him. I think people are starting to love him.
It's the same reason people got on the Cavaliers or the Miami Heat.
Is he a flash in a pan?
Or
is he what I think he is?
I don't know. I don't know that answer. Can we be halfway through next season for me to answer that?
It's going to be part of injury as well, right? Because you can't keep taking shots to the knees from 285-pound guys who are pure muscle.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter if you are 260 pure muscle, it's going to hurt.
I hate to make these two comparisons, but I say, as far as splashes in the pan, look at RG3. Look at Colin Kaepernick. Okay,
can I make a better one? Can I make something that's more... Because as good as they were and as much as they were carrying their teams, Kaepernick had a really good team and a really good coach around him. RG3 had a pretty good coach. The talent was not good around him. He had a good coach. Can I make this more of a comparison? The freak of an athlete that Cam is, Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson got hurt. He did something, and I'm not saying Cam can do this because this is. Did you know Bo Jackson, the reason he retired is because when he was getting tackled one time on the football field, he actually broke his hip because he kept running and the guy was on him and the guy fell and he walked a few steps and fell because he had a broken hip.
Right.
But he was so strong that he tore his torso from his hip while the guy was holding him underneath. Like, that's how much upper body strength he had. He was a freak of an athlete. He was just different, and they couldn't figure it out. That's more to my eyes because he's not.
That might be going a little bad.
But I'm not saying he's as good as Bo Jackson. I'm saying that he's different like Bo Jackson in the sense of you're saying RG3 in this and that. RG3 wasn't putting these numbers up, wasn't doing it.
Numbers.
22 touchdowns and 1 interceptions in the last 6 games.
Don't know a little better. I'll give you that. Yes.
22 touchdowns and 1 interception. That's a lot better. That's numbers that we haven't seen in a long, long time. They've lost 1 game, they've lost 2 games in the last 26, 27 they played.
Stepping back to last year.
Since they've cut Greg Hardy.
Jesus. So basically, Cam's playing like the MVP.
Cam is playing like the LeBron that I was talking about before. Does he keep it going in the future? You said we'll have to see next year.
I need to see next year.
Okay, we'll go on. We'll talk about this. We'll probably dive into this a little bit next week because we have a pretty long preview, I think, that we want to get into with the Super Bowl.
It's going to be extensive.
We want to dive into players. We want to dive...
wait till next week. Stay tuned.
You'll figure it out. Speaking of players, more openly, Kuechly in the defense before we get into the Arizona team. Kuechly, another pick 6. What is that? 3 pick 6 on the season. 2 of them in the playoffs now.
Yeah.
Insane. Against Carson Palmer and Russell Wilson.
Right.
And Tony Romo.
Right.
Cheap shot?
I know it was a cheap shot. I was going to let it slide, but... You're a fuck.
All right. Well, here's a cheap shot. I'll do it on myself. Kirk Coleman had 2 interceptions in this game. How?
How do you feel about that?
I feel like
you missing that?
I could have suited up and then probably made those interceptions if Kirk Coleman made those interceptions.
And if you're playing against Arizona.
Well, Carson Palmer. Woo! Do you want to skip the defense? We're going to the defense here a little later, but Carson Palmer.
I don't need to talk about Carolina's defense. That's not the story. The story is Carson Palmer, dude.
Am I wrong? Was I wrong over all this time talking about how bad he was in big games?
No, go ahead, sip your tea. There's some good tea in it. Yeah. No, you weren't wrong at all, dude. I don't understand it. I said I was gonna give Carson Palmer the Offensive Player of the Year award when we were going over our yearly awards.
You can't change it now.
I'm not going to change it, but that's what I was getting at with the contrast is that that was based on the regular season, how spectacular I felt he was playing, and he did play phenomenally considering the circumstances. But since the postseason, dude, I could have went out there and threw those types of numbers. I could have went out there last week or the week before and threw nearly 5, 6 interceptions.
6 turnovers, another 2 or 3 in the game before. He had another 2 or 3, 4 dropped in the game before. He could have the potential to have like 12, 13, 14 turnovers.
I don't understand. There's one argument I will give in defense of him because, and you've said it, and a lot of people have said it, but then I also have just a counter argument because you say it's about the big games and he doesn't step out to the big games. My man played for USC.
Won a national championship.
In LA. I'm not a college person. I understand what USC is and what it means and how to win a national championship with USC.
Hold on.
You can't get to a bigger stage until you get to the Super Bowl. So he was already there and he produced. So I don't know if that's the reason. That's the counter argument.
You can stack your deck a little more in college football. What I'm saying by that is you can make your team a whole heck of a lot better, a whole heck of a lot easier in college football if you're Nick Saban or Pete Carroll at that time. Pete Carroll at that time had a super team.
He was unstoppable.
That was the beginning, and Carson Palmer was a big part of it. And Carson Palmer had to make some plays. Don't get me wrong. Carson Palmer struggled though. Carson Palmer actually he was benched through 2. He won 1 national championship, and then he as a senior. But did
he win a Heisman too?
Yes, but he was benched. He was benched twice throughout that run, and he was benched on the national championship run. They didn't win it. I think his senior year. They won it his junior year. But he was benched halfway through his junior year. He came back. He won. He was the player of the national championship that won it. They lost it the next year. They won it the year after with Liners.
So he was right. He did. Yeah.
But Reggie Bush though. But Reggie Bush was part of it. You got to realize how good those teams are. You have to realize
I do, but what I was getting at is that
like
he
I'm
was
saying, you
still
can
on a level.
Like right now.
Okay, Arizona is.
Right now he's playing with John Brown. John Brown's
okay.
Yeah, but John Brown probably is their 4th or 5th receiver in college at that USC team. John Brown.
Arizona's stacked. It's one of the best. On paper, ignore what the results. On paper, we've been saying all year. I've been saying all year. They're one of I said they're the most complete team in the NFL.
Yeah, but how's their offensive line play? You know what I'm saying? That it comes down to stuff like that. USC was getting the big beefy guys. I'm just saying that like there's gonna be holes. There's gonna be things. Carolina right now, for some reason. Kurt Coleman, I know how bad Kurt Coleman is. They're covering up how bad of a player he is. You know what I mean? They're doing stuff to put him in positions to make plays. But what I'm saying is, part of it's a scheme, okay? And that's what makes me say Pete Carroll, Nick Saban, because yes, they get the best recruits year in and year out at these times. Mm. But it's because of how good their schemes were and put them in positions to be this good. Carson Palmer excelled out of a system, out of a scheme. Tom Brady might never become Tom Brady if he never met Bill Belichick. Do you know what I'm saying? Carson Palmer might never touch a Heisman Trophy if he goes to UCLA instead of USC.
I don't disagree with you.
But my point is so he gets in a situation where it's more on him because in the NFL, you're getting paid the big bucks at quarterback, then you got to be the guy to carry. Look at Joe Flacco. At least he keeps his team within 3 or 4 points, even if everybody's hurt, even if he's not. No.
I'm laughing just because you always got to get Joe Flacco in there.
Yeah, but he signed the $100 million contract, and what did he do? He put the team on his back. Carson Palmer got the $100 million contract, and what did he do?
Into the playoffs.
Found himself in the...
Look, I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm saying we can't ignore... I don't disagree with you, because he was a catastrophe in the playoffs, but I'm saying up into the playoffs, look at what he did. Look what he did last year in the regular season. And he got hurt.
That's great. Legend.
Peyton Manning, some say he's only great in the regular season. Granted, he got a Super Bowl and he's out in the second one, but I'm just saying, a lot of people say Peyton Manning.
You know why people know who Bart Starr is and they don't talk about Johnny Unitas?
Why is that?
Because they're Super Bowls.
Okay, people talk about Dan Marino, but he doesn't have any Super Bowls. No. I'm not saying he's Dan Marino, but I'm saying...
Not a lot of people talk about Dan Marino.
Well, they're a bunch of fucks. I talk about Dan Marino a lot.
As good as Dan Marino is, not a lot of people are sitting around talking about Dan Marino.
Actually, he's one of those people that's not a Cowboy that I've always wanted his jersey.
Dan Marino.
I've always wanted a Dan Marino white Dolphins jersey.
Interesting.
I just never got it. It's like Ray Lewis. I always wanted a purple Ray Lewis jersey. There's a couple players that aren't on the Cowboys that I would just rock the hell out of the jerseys because I respect them as players. I used to have a Marshall Faulk jersey.
I had a Priest Holmes jersey.
Because you just respect him and you love him as a player.
Huge Priest Holmes.
Dan Marino, for me, I don't know. I talk about Dan Marino.
It's interesting. I mean, obviously,
yeah.
I'd rock a Cam jersey.
I'd take a baby blue Carolina jersey.
That or a black one. I'd be down with a black one. Okay, moving on. We were talking about Arizona. Quickly, with that game, one of the biggest differences in contrast was it was only a 10-point game. Patrick Peterson goes to return a punt. He fumbles it. When you see one of your best players, one of your top players, one of those guys with a C on his chest, playing that, doing that, being a big part of why, the Arizona offense stalled a couple times. Carolina's offense scored a couple times in a row. You got Carolina to have a 3-and-out. They punted it to you. You fumbled it. You were at like the 45 even if you recover it and get tackled right away. Your team only had to go 55 yards at maximum.
And you couldn't do it.
And they didn't recover. Carolina ball. Carolina goes in, scores really quick. The game goes pretty much out of hand from there.
I just thought of a random situation.
Okay.
How do you feel about that 2-point conversion they did late in the game? What was that about? I'm curious. You tell me what you think, and I'm gonna tell you what I think.
So I added it up in my head as they're going for it, right before they line up.
They were up.
No. I was adding it up in my head, right. It made 0 sense for them to go for 2.
What was the purpose?
The only thing I can think of is arrogance.
There we have it. We're there again. Look, I love cockiness. I love arrogance. I told you before. I respect it as long as you show me, and they're showing me up to this point. But at the same time, like, you're in that situation. What?
You know why?
What are you trying to prove?
Do you want to know why?
Please tell me why.
Do you really want to know why?
I would love to know why, because I don't understand it. Arrogance.
You can let Cam Newton and you can let Carolina fool you and make them think that make you think that they didn't know that they were going to play Denver in the Super Bowl, okay? But they knew before they kicked that game off that they were going to play Denver if they won that game, okay? They all knew
saying
that.
That's a statement against Denver?
I'm saying that they know how good Denver's defense is, and they wanted to sit there and they wanted to say, here we are.
Maybe.
I think they had every intention on if they scored another offensive touchdown going for 2. They scored a defensive touchdown. I think that's why they didn't go for 2. It was 49. I think they wanted to put 50 up. The score ended up being 49 to 17 or 49 to 10. I think they wanted to put 50 up, and I think that was honestly their goal. But because it was a defensive touchdown, I think they were kind of like, you're not going to send your offense out there after that. Because that's blatant. That's blatant smack in the face. That's blatant where...
So it was going for 2.
Yes, but at the same time, nobody was watching.
Damn sure wasn't.
That's my point.
Still, but I saw it.
Right, and I get that it's going to circulate in our circles, and it's going to be a statement, it's going to circulate over to Denver, and they're going to be like, oh. And it probably rubbed Arizona the wrong way, as it should, because you know what? I'm a fan of sportsmanship, and...
Right. No, because, okay, here's the counter argument. This is my perspective. Whereas I see it's arrogance, stop them. Where I don't think it was necessary, especially when you're up that much. Well, then if you don't like Arizona,
when Cam scored the first touchdown and the fighting was happening,
right,
and Cam put the ball on the ground to do his dance, and you knew he put the ball on the ground to do his dance to come back to put the ball on the ground. Now, again, I love Cam Newton. That was bait. He put the ball on the ground to make somebody look like the bad guy, and somebody took the bait, picked the ball up, and started walking away like they were some big guys, and Tolbert, knocked the ball out. And then Cam stood up, he took the ball, he offered to give it back to the guy. He said, what, you want to go give it to a kid? And then he said, or do you want to stop me? Because that is the point. What you just said, it does not matter to me. I don't care if they, this whole, you can't pass if you're up by, 17, 20 points with 2 minutes left. I don't care. Throw Hail Marys.
These unwritten rules that don't really exist, just like baseball.
Stop them.
Baseball actually lives by them. Stop them.
I don't care.
I agree.
I don't care. It sucks. But if you're on the losing end, it sucks. No, it does. It sucks. Because
it does suck, and that's why I say there's some arrogance in it, but I'm
the biggest Notre Dame fan in the world, and it hurt so bad to watch Notre Dame get absolutely shellacked by 46 points, whatever it was. But I woke up the next day with that exact mindset of, you know what, it doesn't matter. I didn't feel like Nick Saban ran the score up on Notre Dame. I feel like Notre Dame just couldn't stop him. No, I felt like no, honestly,
because I know people feel that way.
But that's
how they feel about the Carolina game.
I'm sitting here on the other end, and I'm saying, and Nick Saban didn't go for 2 at any point, so I don't feel like smacking the face like that.
That's what's ridiculous.
But even if he did, I would have woke up the next day being like, that's kind of a dickheaded move. But we didn't stop them.
They clowned us, but I mean...
we didn't do nothing about it.
Yep.
You can't, you know what I mean? And while you and I can sit here and easily say something, as I said, it's arrogance. I think they were trying to send a message.
Yeah.
I really do.
Fair enough.
Moving on from Arizona, something in their division, you wanted to talk about Seattle?
Seattle.
Moving in the wrong direction or right direction?
Dude, I don't know. I had this rate. I feel like
this was the first NFC Championship in 3 years that they weren't there.
I mean, if you listen to the players, they say that everybody's overreacting because they are so young. They're just in a third. But my argument would be, which is pretty much the Stephen A. argument, which is it's all kind of fallen off track since the Super Bowl and that play call, and everybody knows what happened with Marshawn Lynch. But ever since that moment, it just seems like they started off spotty, and everybody was like, what happened to Seattle? They're done. And then they got on a little bit of momentum. They got rolling into the postseason, and then they faced the juggernaut, and they just couldn't hold up their end of the deal. And now my question is, and what I'm wondering, and what I think is happening, especially going into next year, is that I think people, you get to a point where you listen to coaches for so long, but then it kind of just goes, coach is just talking, I don't really buy into him. It's not like a Greg Popovich where everybody's like, we're always going to listen to you. I don't know if Pete Carroll has that because of the play call that he did in the Super Bowl. If they would have won, then maybe we can say, okay, no, they'll be back. They're young. They still got a good coach. I don't know if that's going to happen next year.
He could have overridden it, but it wasn't his play call.
Regardless.
And I don't know.
I don't know if they can be back in this situation.
You know how I feel. You know how I said the writing could have been on the wall. The biggest part of that for me is I look at a lot of things in analytics and money and all that with the salary cap and all this stuff. They have no chance going forward to keep building around the roster that they had because they're losing money so fast. And what's happening is and when I said the writing was on the wall, is because I felt like the salary cap was doing its job. This is the point of the salary cap. The Patriots are the only team I've ever seen do it really well, like to the point of excellence where they're in it every single year in and year out. Denver's really good at it. No matter who their GM is, they seem to really manage the salary cap well. Philadelphia, for a long time, while Andy Reid was there, was really good at it. Yeah, well, you know how that goes. There's teams in there that are just consistently Green Bay, you know what I mean, that are just consistently
they've been
consistently good, right? Because they're good at managing the salary cap,
right?
And it's a game of managing the salary cap. But this is the point of the salary cap. Teams like Seattle, teams that
Baltimore's kind of been in up until this year,
right? This year was because of injuries. But you're right. The Steelers, the Bengals, that's a great.
They're always
point.
in the conversation.
That's a great point. Yes, and that's my point. But you have teams like Seattle, right, or San Francisco. Flashes in the pans. Yeah. The reason? Because they're not good with salary cap. Don't take this the wrong way. Dallas, not good with salary cap sometimes. You know why? Because as good as they are right now, as good as they're finally moving in the drafting in the right direction, they had those years that the reason that they are literally 157 and 157 or 153 and 153 or whatever it is since 1997 is because they've had seasons where they are 10-6. And then they've had seasons where they're 6-10, and it happens so consistently and inconsistently because they're not good with salary cap. You just need to figure out a way to get really consistent with salary cap. Overall, in the last 3 or 4 years, they finally now are moving in the right direction.
Hard to start, but yeah,
you're gonna have to figure. But that to me is what makes teams be sustainable. Is being able to deal with the money. The salary cap is the biggest thing. It's the biggest thing in the NBA. It's the biggest thing in the NHL. It's the biggest reason the MLB will never, ever not be top heavy because the MLB just won't put one in. No. The salary cap is doing its job in Seattle if Seattle falls apart because the NFL doesn't want teams to be like the Patriots. It's not good for business to have multiple Patriots. It's okay to have it for one team. It's okay. It's because it's so rare and it's so astonishing and it's so doesn't matter what we do. We can call them cheaters. We can prove they cheated.
Right.
We can say it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what we do. They will stand in your face and they will laugh at you and they will be better at you and they will be here at the end of the year every single year.
And you're still gonna have them rings.
Because they're just really good at what they do. It's just because, and that's a huge part of it is that they're really good with salary cap because they get value out of every single player on their roster. Where the Tennessee doesn't even have enough money to not get enough player money, and they're not getting guys. You know what I mean? They're not getting any value. They're not getting any value at the bottom of their roster, the way the Patriots are. Do you understand what I'm saying? Right. And the Patriots are spending $25 to $30 more million a year.
And the problem with Seattle, going back to money, they've lost a lot of their players defensively, their offensive line.
Because they've signed them for so much money.
And a lot of them are leaving on top of it.
Yes or no? The way they built this up was mainly with second and third round picks. They did it with what did I read? A record of I think it was 70-some picks in 4 years. But that's how they built their team with a bunch of guys who were in the second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth round who felt like they had chips on their shoulders, who felt like they needed. Now they're all paid. Now they're all we ain't got a chip on our shoulder. We did what we needed to do. We got our ring. We on our way to keep getting more rings, and now it's all collapsing.
I think
salary cap.
The time.
But they got to rebuild it. Got to try to rebuild it. You said his message is getting old. We'll get these guys out of here. Start trading them. Get their money off the books. Get these young guys. Trade them for picks the way you had 70-some picks. Just do it all over again. You got Russell Wilson, who, yes, you have a lot of money invested in him, but if you have money invested in one player and he's a quarterback and he's a young good quarterback, you need a quarterback to be successful in this league. Obviously, Matt Hasselbeck wasn't the guy, but they were still in it. They were still made the playoffs. They still had the Beastquake or whatever. That's what I'm saying. But not even that. I'm saying with Pete Carroll, when they made the Beastquake against the Saints or whatever, they were 8-8 that year. But that was, you know what I mean? You have the guy that you want now. You don't have to deal with Matt Hasselbeck or something like that. Now you just got to build around him, get the money off the books, kind of rebuild the way you did. The potential's there for Seattle. It's a pivotal offseason. Next year is a pivotal year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually,
I just think it might be around now. We'll see.
Well, we will see. Time will only tell with that. All right, quickly, hold on.
We already talked about Denver,
Dwight,
Carolina.
Just 1 second. We're not even. This isn't on the books. This isn't writing it in pen. This is just first initial reaction, thought. Went to bed Sunday night knowing that Denver Broncos and the Carolina Panthers were going to meet in Super Bowl 50.
My first thought.
When you were going to bed, who do you think would win that game?
Carolina.
How about right now? Has anything convinced you, swayed you to start moving in the other direction? It's still early. We still
because of what I said last week about how it feels like it's meant to be for Peyton.
So you're starting to lean towards that right now. Right now, who are you picking?
If you have a gun to my head, Carolina.
Carolina. Okay.
I'm not sticking to that. Like, we're gonna
yes,
make our official picks.
I'm okay with that.
We'll make our official picks.
I just
next
wanted
week.
to get a read on you.
General consensus right now would be Carolina, but I can't.
Force.
I'm not right. Right, there are force, but I can't write off.
I can't either. And you give Peyton this much time to heal, this much time to learn a defense.
He's looked decent. He hasn't looked great. He's not putting up 300, but he should have. Well, the week
if
before.
They catch balls, though, he could.
I can't write him off right now.
I'm picking Carolina right now as well. Same thing as you. Can't hold me to it as much as,
You're going to go with it.
Most people would think so, but there's a lot to happen between now and that time.
Interesting.
We want to talk a little NBA to end this out. Can I quickly? Okay. I like to admit when I'm right. And no. Hold on, because this is me admitting I'm wrong. I didn't gloat this week as much as because I want to wait to see what happens with Cam, and maybe after the year, after he gets the MVP and all that, I'll gloat a little bit about how I did all that. Whatever. I love to be right. Okay. Who doesn't love to be right? Who doesn't love to predict things far in advance?
I'm right all the time.
In the short term, I'm gonna admit, at least for one game, Tim Duncan wouldn't have made a 30-point difference. I said the Spurs should probably beat the Warriors in a 7-game series. I'm probably wrong about that. I can't necessarily go against it at the moment. Maybe when we get into the playoffs I will, but
May's a little different than January in basketball.
The Warriors, though, ran them in a circle.
It's a story, but it's not a story. And like you said, I don't think Tim Duncan...
He doesn't make it a 30-point difference.
No. You think... Greg Popovich did it on purpose.
I understand that he does that often. He plays
that all the time. He doesn't care about the regular season.
He won't play the best. He won't play his best players against the best teams, or he won't play his full roster against the best teams because he doesn't want you to get an idea of what's happening in a 7-game series.
And then in the postseason, what happens?
Sometimes they win, sometimes they don't. But
they're at least somewhat competitive. It's more than somewhat. They are competitive.
You can't go double big. You can't go Tim Duncan and Aldridge on the floor at the same time because they run so fast, and so they're going to spread you out. They're going to hit threes all day on you then.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
But you need to figure out you need to figure out what you can do, and you would rather lose a regular season game by 50 than lose game one of a game in a series against them by that much because you're learning in that game that you can't go double bigs. I would rather them learn that last night. I don't know if they probably play once or twice more throughout the season. You need to play both of them at the same time and figure out what you can do and if you can get them on the floor at the same time. And you need to learn that before you get into a series against them because if you waste a game learning that in the series against them, that's it. I mean, have you ever seen a team that if they have a lead on you, you felt like you could never come back on, that was so dominating? Or if a team that if you had a lead on them, no matter if it was 5 points or 25 points, you felt like they were right there with you and you were scared?
No.
That is this Warriors team?
No. I can't even think of who would be next behind that. No.
Those Bulls teams probably. I mean, I'm not old enough to really sit here and watch them consistently the way I get to watch these Warriors teams. These Warriors teams, I mean, they get down 5 points, 7 points, and in a blink of an eye, they're up 6.
Yeah.
And
that's all
It's scary. And it's so scary because then when you're down 6 to them, you start rushing shots. I mean, I think Monty Jones said it best. The Spurs are the team that they pride on putting you into bad deep 2-point shots, okay? Because that's the worst shot on the floor. But they were down so much at one point that they actually started just firing the worst 2-point shots ever, and it's so unlike them. But this is what this Warriors team is doing. They're unlike anything I've personally ever seen. I watch
definitely.
The shout out. We knock ESPN a lot, but you give them a little credit today. Talking about Skip and Steven. But shout out to SportsCenter does a good job of with their they're doing a anniversary thing of the Bulls team that 172, and so they're showing showing the highlights. I watch all of them, and it's really, I mean, these two teams
they were better defensively, but
they were so much better defensively. It's not even close. But I mean this offensive, but it's also. I know you're not an analytics guy. By possession, they might not be that much better defensively. I think they are better defensively by possession, but that would be something I'd have to look into. Anyway.
I'm just thinking about it in general. I'm just thinking Scotty, Jordan, Robin, and then I'm looking at Golden State. I'm like, who defensively would you even turn to? I can't name them. Anyway, as far as San Antonio goes...
Iggy, but I don't think he could shut down Jordan. When he shut down LeBron, nobody thought he could shut down LeBron, so...
No, that was beautiful. But as far as San Antonio goes, the thing about them is that I can't question Popovich, and it's so easy to say, whoa, they lost to Golden State and they lost by so much, and they should have tried to get a better feel at, like you said, about what they would want to do in a postseason situation. We all know Greg Popovich. He's a manipulator, and he's forward thinking. He probably already knows what he wants to do in the playoffs. Is it going to work? Who knows? We have to see when we get there. But in this regular season game, he doesn't have to prove anything. He's got the rings to prove what he's going to do. He's got the rings to prove that he can make a decision if he needs to. He knows how to adjust. They're one of the best teams in the NBA. Hello, their longevity has spoken to that. They've been in it since like 99.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk about longevity? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree.
They've been in it, longer since 99. Since Duncan was drafted. What was it, 90?
96, 97.
Yeah, okay. So they've kind of been in that hunt, and they've won championships, and he's been a part of that. So I'm not going to question him. I'm not going to question him, especially in a regular season game when it's only January. We got to like April, May to have these conversations.
I completely agree. Okay. Staying in the West, the Clippers, going through a little turmoil right now. According to reports, Blake Griffin
is a fuck.
Either beat up or did something with his hand physically to an athletic staff or a trainer or something.
Punched him in the face.
While DeAndre Jordan was there. Now, the NBA and the Clippers are going to investigate it, but I don't know. I'm just talk to the guys who were there and figure it out. It's not that hard. He broke his hand. Blake Griffin broke his hand. He's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks.
On top of the injury he already had?
My initial reaction was over money.
He's an athlete.
Because they're all supposed to be friends, and the trainer's supposed to be friends with all these, you know what I mean?
Tends to be what happens when it's in-house like that.
I don't know. They're being really hush about it. I'm just saying, I think there was gambling or something was going on, that it was probably over some kind of money. Anyways, point is, it's a problem that this is going on.
Really. And the Clippers are a problem. They're always crying about something. They're always in some type of drama.
All those wins you said they had without Blake Griffin, they were against teams under 500.
Hello.
So when Blake gets back eventually, he might be a big part of the reason why they're competitive against good teams.
I don't know. I don't. Whereas I think Blake has gotten better on the court, I still don't think he's that great of a player. I think he's a good player. I don't think he's a great player. And as far as off the court now, how stupid do you have to be? Regardless of what the
situation, very bad luck.
You're already out. You're already injured. The team.
He was coming back though. He would have been back within. They said by the end of this week they were expecting him to be back.
You just said that they've been beating teams that had a certain record. Okay, fair enough. I still think on paper, looking at their roster, they still have a solid roster. And with him, obviously it only helps. But if you take him out of the equation, I still think they've got a solid roster. They're very deep. Their bench is really good. They have a great coach, one of the best coaches in the league.
Yeah.
So I don't know. As much as I hate and enjoy hating on
the Clippers,
as much as I hate and enjoy hating on the Clippers, I can't knock the fact that they are deep and they have a great coach. But as far as this whole situation, really.
Well, they have to figure out a way to maintain in the West. The West is a hard place to be.
This isn't where you want to fuck up. This is the East.
But he's going to need to come back and really put it together there.
I don't understand. It's a joke.
Speaking of the East, something you probably also don't understand, I think is a joke.
It is a joke.
The Cavaliers fired David Blatt over the weekend.
Shout out to Lou Williams. He got a redemption from 2001.
Tyronn Lue, but what's the difference?
What did I say?
Lou Williams. What's the difference? Honestly, what's the difference? They both are bums in Laker uniforms. No. It's not because the Laker uniforms are the bum. I like the gold and I like the purple. Okay. I love the Kobe and I love the Shaq. I'm not coming at it. I'm just saying.
Anyway, shout out to Tyronn Lue. He's got that contract. He got the redemption from 01. Shout out to him.
Did you see the meme on Saturday night when everybody was surrounded by him and they were all thinking about the Iverson? It's so awesome.
Yeah, and he was thinking about that thing he got
probably
on his finger, and now he's thinking about that Cleveland.
How do you feel about
Cleveland. Cleveland.
So you're not happy with this move?
I don't like or dislike David Blatt. I feel like he got the raw end of a deal. He was in a no-win situation. But what's fucked up about it is that you were just in the finals, you're in first place in the East, great as the East, and you got LeBron. I get it. But what more is he supposed to do in this situation? Everybody wants to say, well, look at Kevin Love, he's not producing. Is that David Blatt's fault?
Sort of. Can I give you a
Is
scenario?
he going to play any better with Tyron?
People call it excuses, people can call it whatever you want. Can I give you a scenario of what I think and what the situation was?
LeBron's a fuck, Cleveland's a fuck. They say that LeBron doesn't control the team, but he really does. And that guy that said that he doesn't control the team, he's probably on a chopping block now, so... Is that the situation? Because that's all I see is a bunch of fuckery.
Maybe, but David Blatt was brought in before LeBron made a decision to come to Cleveland. He was brought, so he had no interest in LeBron coming there. LeBron came, he was like, "Ooh, LeBron's coming, well, awesome, yeah, right." Obviously, he didn't understand how bad it was. I think they should have fired him after the season last year. Even though
either wait last year or wait to the end of this year.
Because as bad as it was, I mean, as hard as it is to say, oh well, he didn't have two of his three superstars, and look how close they were, blah, 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 blah. It obviously wasn't clicking. Him and LeBron aren't getting along. He doesn't run the right system for LeBron. LeBron isn't going to listen to him. You got to get somebody that LeBron respects in there. LeBron isn't scared of anybody in the organization. That's why he can run the organization the way he does. I said it last week. I don't like that he's the GM. I think they need to figure that out.
We should have had this conversation at the end of last year, then.
I agree.
So then, what is the story? I don't. As far as like, then what is
Tyronn Lue would still be the coach today, though, because they were going to hire him anyways. They brought him in.
That's cool.
They brought him in as an assistant after LeBron came in because LeBron wanted him in there.
Why get rid of him now? They got rid of him because they got their ass whooped by Golden State in Cleveland, because that's pretty much what went down. They said that the week before that he was going to get fired.
Another point of what you just said about Kevin Love, because Kevin Love wasn't producing under him, because he's not
going to produce under Tyronn.
He didn't. Okay, but just like.
Even though he's putting up double-doubles still.
Chris Bosh had to take a deep breath and realize that he had to alter his game between the two other superstars. Okay, he realized that he was the odd man out. Kevin Love hasn't done that, but
that's on Kevin Love.
Yes, but Spoelstra helped Chris Bosh do that.
Pat Riley did that.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but Spoelstra got the credit. But David Blatt didn't do that. Tyronn Lue needs to figure it. Listen, Tyronn Lue played on a team that had superstars go at it. He saw inside how he can fix it. He needs to step up and do it. I don't know if he does. I don't think they're good enough talent. Even if he does, even if those three produce themselves, they're number 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 players are miserable compared to whoever they're going to play in the West, including Oklahoma City or the Clippers. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they play 1 through 6 through the West. I think they probably lose. Yeah. LeBron keeps them in it between 3, 4, 5, and 6 a little more than he does against the top 2 teams, but I still think he has a really hard time against them.
I'm telling, like I said last year,
because he's gonna be by himself. I don't know. If the field is Oklahoma City, the Spurs, or the Warriors, I think you have a really, really, really good chance.
And if the Sacramento Kings or whatever bum team comes out the West, I will take whoever beats those teams to get to the finals.
Speaking of Sacramento, how about Boogie Cousins? Balling.
56 points the other day.
Double overtime, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, something like that.
But he's been putting up a lot of points.
He's putting up them Kevin Love numbers where he was just balling out. Is he going to leave and go to a team that's stacked it and not produce and get a coach fired?
So, do you have anything else to add to this JD Sports show today?
You know what's funny? We didn't even talk about it. Players were saying that they thought, when they got the call that David Blatt was fired, that they thought it was about Kevin Love being traded.
Do you think he should be?
Yes.
Yeah, so
he's on the... Okay, well then why get rid of Kevin...
I don't think they should have got Kevin Love in the first place. Do you know what I think they're missing right now? And I said it at the time, and I thought that he was a better fit for what they were going to need. They're missing Andrew Wiggins. They're missing somebody who can spread the floor, who can play a little bit of the wing, who can get down low, unlike Kevin Love. Kevin Love needs to be post up getting down low. You know what I'm saying? Where Andrew Wiggins can go to the hole down low like LeBron. You have 2 guys who can do things that like LeBron does. Not at the pace LeBron does one, but 2 guys who can make those kind of things. It's different. That's what they're missing, I think.
I don't think Kevin is happy in the situation it is as much as he likes.
He's not going to alter. He's not going to alter his game either.
No, he's not. Kevin, after last year, he liked to play it off like he was happy and he was cool and everything was all happy and shit. But I think that he's not happy. One, I think that if Cleveland is smart, which they haven't proven that at all. If they are smart, what they should do is put him on a block. See if you can get 2, 3 players, maybe a pick, whatever the situation will be. You can get a little more depth on your roster and replace something that just isn't working. Because, like I said, I don't think Tyron's going to magically make Kevin Love, Minnesota Kevin Love, or even like a quarter of what he was there. It's not working. Because he just isn't fitting. He's not accepting. Chris Bosh eventually accepted his role and adapted and made it work. Kevin Love isn't doing that. He just isn't doing that.
Tyronn Lue's supposed to be there. I fix that.
Even though Kevin Love isn't playing horribly, he isn't playing to, one, his standards, and 2, he's not playing happy. Chris Bosh was happy eventually. He was cool with that after like a year and some change. Kevin Love isn't happy. As much as he likes to say he is, I don't think he is.
I agree.
So in that situation, get rid of him.
He got a lot of money though.
And who's going to want to pay at this rate?
Cleveland.
LA, Lakers, probably. I don't want him now.
Well, it's gonna be. They're gonna have to trade something for him though.
At this, what do you want? Randall, as a young gun.
Well, he doesn't believe in the rebuilding system.
I don't believe in analytics. I don't believe in analytics. I don't believe in Cleveland.
Probably.
I'm gonna hurl.
Well, thank you for watching JD Sports. I'm Jarrett Hood. That's the White Garfield. We will see you next week with a long, extended, hopefully, version of the preview of the Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
I'm excited. Cam Newton versus Peyton. This has been big. We've done this. It's been a fun season to get here.
Yeah, this is what we've built up. We built up to this point, and now we're about to be here. We're here.
Yeah. Watching the Pro Bowl this weekend?
No.
Okay. Well, go Team Jerry Rice because I don't want Team Michael Irvin to win.
You're a bum.